Hello and welcome once again to Brain Says Strange Things. I'm Patrick, this is my brother Jordan, and this is the podcast where we talk about horror movies. This episode is our Christmas special and will probably close out the year 2013. Our last episode was our Halloween episode, so we really wanted to try and get another episode up before the end of the year despite the busy holiday season, and we thought we would try and do a Christmas-themed episode. Christmas is not, the most ideal holiday for horror fans, but there are a few noteworthy Christmas-themed horror movies, and we watched a couple of them tonight. Most people are aware of the cult classic Silent Night, Deadly Night. That is one of the films that we watched this evening, as well as another more recent film from 2010 called Rare Exports, a really strange Finnish movie about a killer Santa Claus. So 2 killer Santa movies is what we're going to be talking about in this episode of Brain Says Strange Things. So I think we'll talk about Rare Exports first.
Sure.
And
that's the one we watched first.
That's the one we watched first, and had seen it for the first time, the two of us. So this is a really weird movie. It is about a group of, I guess they're reindeer hunters. That live out in Iceland or...
I don't even know if they're necessarily reindeer hunters. Are they?
I don't know.
They do hunt reindeer.
I think they do. I think that's how they make their livelihood. Okay. They're reindeer hunters and they sell the meat. So it follows this group of these kind of tough guys, and the one guy's little son are the main characters in the movie. But what's going on is there's this research group who has been excavating something in this mountain nearby where these people live and do their work. And they've found something very strange in this mountain, and something has killed all the reindeer, and something has kidnapped all the children in the community, and the little boy, the main character, comes to believe that these researchers have uncovered the real Santa Claus, who he thinks may be some kind of a mythological being.
He's kind of like a demon.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah. He discovers the true origin of Santa Claus.
Well, he's looking through that
I'm
book.
not explaining this very well at all.
No, I think that is the story, though. He's looking through that book that tells the true story of Santa, and that pretty much is that he tortures children.
Right. So he uncovers these,
he's got big horns. He's like a demon.
These frightening legends of what the real Santa Claus is like, what the myth is based on, which is this ancient kind of demonic creature. And so that the boy comes to believe, and it seems to be the case, that these researchers have uncovered and woken up this killer Santa Claus.
Yep. Which is what they're trying to do. It's not like they accidentally uncovered.
Right, yeah. The guy who's funding this research wanted to find this Santa Claus, which supposedly had been defeated and buried in this mountain years and years and years ago.
I didn't really get that guy.
Yeah.
His connection with the story or anything.
There's a lot about this movie that doesn't really make sense, but basically this is what's happening. Killer Santa Claus stalking this community. This little boy figures out what's going on and kind of becomes the hero of the story. So it's a very unique, bizarre take on the Santa Claus myth, and an interesting way to incorporate a lot of the Santa Claus imagery into a horror movie. And I wouldn't call this a great movie, but I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. Yeah, I thought it was pretty well done. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's hard to even say that it's a Christmas movie almost. They pretty much the only thing Christmassy about it is that the killer's name is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He's not like the Santa
Claus. Well, and
there's
the reindeer.
Know. There's a reindeer connection. It's not like he uses a reindeer.
No, but then there's the elves.
Who aren't anything like the
elves. No, but
but
it does try to take all
a lot of liberties with a lot of
but that's what I liked about it.
Too.
Yeah, that it was like it wasn't the typical, Silent Night, Deadly Night, which we'll discuss.
And Santa was skinny.
Yeah,
there's a
bit of a twist,
sort of,
kind of as you go into the movie.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, Santa is an elf, or That's one of his elves. It doesn't really matter. They're all Santa, essentially, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then there's one giant, which this is kind of a bait and switch where they show, they never end up showing what the demon Santa Claus
The
looks
actual
like,
demon Santa Claus, yeah.
which I guess it sort of works a little bit, but he's frozen in the block of ice. They're thawing him through the whole movie, and before he thaws, they blow him up.
Mm-hmm.
So you never get to see like the big.
Yeah. So to
creature right in
clarify,
front
you
of
do
you.
see a killer Santa in the movie, but we find out, like in the third act, what we've been led to believe is the killer Santa is actually just one of Santa's helpers, one of the elves, which there are
One
a
of
lot
many,
of.
yeah, there's a-
And the real killer Santa is this giant being with horns that's frozen in ice that you never really get to see clearly. I think that was a bit of a disappointment. I would have liked to have seen that creature, even for a minute, you know, at the very end, just to kind of show what he looked like. It probably would have been horrible CGI, like a lot of the
See,
CGI.
no, that's the reason
in
why
this movie.
I think that it's good that they kind of restrained from
Yeah,
that a little bit,
because the
because it would
CGI
have
was
just
not
turned
well
into a giant battle at the end with the kid
Yeah, but-
throwing a stick of dynamite down Santa Claus's
Yep.
mouth and blowing up. This way, I don't know, they didn't really have to show him,
No.
I guess, for it to work, because it still worked. So.
Yeah, it did, and I was entertained by this movie. It was unique.
But if you're expecting to see that, you're...
I do still think they should have shown him. Just even for a moment, even if it would have
They
been
showed him
like
in pictures.
even if it would have been like he comes out of the ice and then just still dies from the explosion. I mean, for like a moment to like
Wow.
actually have shown this creature, I think that would have been cool. That's something that I think
It would have been cool if it would have looked cool. I kind of think maybe... it
they probably
would've
couldn't have
been-
pulled it off. So
yeah.
maybe it was a good call on their part because some of the CGI with like the helicopter at the end and stuff was pretty cheesy, and all
Yeah,
the
that's what it
hordes of
started to go-
elves was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But that didn't bother me so much because even though this is a very dark movie, it's not like a comedy at all. It doesn't take
Not
itself.
really.
It doesn't take itself too seriously. You know what I mean? I just got the sense that
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that because I think like the reason why it works really well, the story, and you're accepting all this stuff going on, is because the actors and everybody, they're so convicted with what they're doing. They're just
and
they're reading lines and talking about Santa Claus
Yep.
very seriously.
I agree with that.
And they talk about it kind of realistically, like, who is this guy? This guy was... I saw this person looking in my window the other
Right.
day. So they're kind of like... They're treating it as if it's a real thing.
Yep.
While talking about all this silly stuff. And it gets really silly towards the end, but I like the ending, too.
And the movie looks great. It looks
looks
really good. It's very well put together. I mean, the cheesy CGI, the CGI, which wasn't quite up to par,
they
notwithstanding.
barely use that, though.
Yeah, it was used pretty sparingly until the very end. And there's a lot of tension and mood. It's not just a gore. There's not a lot of kills, really, even in this
No,
movie.
that's the other thing that I thought was interesting that they did with Santa is, or one of the elves, whatever. I'll call him Santa. The guy that they
Yeah.
trap essentially,
Yeah.
that they think is Santa. They
Yeah.
think they kill him, and he's still alive, and they want to sell him back to the guy from the beginning,
Yeah.
so they can make money.
Yeah,
essentially.
the money that they lost from, I
Yeah.
guess, the elves having eaten
Yeah,
up a
it's
reindeer.
getting kind of complicated, but the thing I liked about the gore or lack thereof is that anytime that creepy Santa who doesn't speak, anytime he does something that's really horrific, you're always hearing about it. It happened off camera when he bites the guy's ear off.
Yeah, that's
when they
true.
talk about him, like they're trying to say like he's got some weird superpowers. They're saying like he's not human. Like they're trying to hint at like he's some sort of like a mutant animal something. And then, because remember they're poking at him with the broomstick,
Yep.
and he's not moving. It's really creepy. All that stuff in
Yeah, it's
the
all very
slaughterhouse that they're in. I think whatever that was.
Yeah.
And he's just like curled up in a corner.
Yeah.
A naked old guy.
Yeah.
Looks like Santa.
Yeah.
And they're like poking at him with a broomstick. And then the next scene, you see like them with the broken broomstick. Like, he bit through this.
Right.
Whereas like if you were to watch that might look kind
Mm-hmm.
of silly or something. You're just kind of hearing about kind of like the myth of Santa.
Yeah.
And how horrific he is.
Yeah,
You
no,
never
you're-
actually see him do anything really
Yeah,
violent.
you're totally right. I didn't think about that. Definitely the actors take it seriously, but you're right in the choices that the filmmakers make in terms of what to show, when to cut away, when not to show, go a long way towards helping you to buy into the reality of this movie as it's unfolding. So in
It's
that
kind of the
sense-
same thing with the end where they don't show it. Maybe they were
Yeah.
thinking like, if we push this too far,
Yeah, maybe
people
so.
aren't gonna buy into the whole thing. So maybe there was a scene where he bites through a broomstick
And
and
they're
they
just
cut
like,
it
"This
out.
isn't working."
Yeah, it could have been something like that. I mean, I could totally believe something
Yeah.
a story like that.
And I can see certain kinds of horror fans not like. Well, I said I didn't like that they didn't show the monster at the end. I do think a little hint of that monster would have been cool, but I can see people not liking that there wasn't more kills and more. We didn't see more.
Yeah, it's not a typical.
No, it really isn't
It's
typical.
not what
It's
you
not a
expect at
typical
all,
Christmas
really.
movie. It's not a typical horror movie. It's just a very unique. It's a really original idea. I guess that's what I mostly liked about it. But I do think that. I mean, when I say that the filmmakers weren't taking it that seriously, I think they were taking like the craft of the movie seriously. They wanted it to be an entertaining film.
Yeah.
But I also don't think like. I mean, it was still a movie about a killer Santa Claus, you know what I mean? And in a way, I feel like having the actors play it so straight was almost funny in a way. Because the kid, he turned into like, kind of like a typical kind of like action hero.
That
at
was
the end.
pushing it.
Yeah, but I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like this movie kind of had its own level of reality that kind of worked.
The kid turns into John McClane from
Yeah,
Die Hard at
and
the
he's
end.
going to
just
sacrifice himself to save.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It just all kind of worked for me. It was just kind of fun. It was an original idea. It's just like where you end up at the end of this movie with all these, basically naked old guys,
You got to give him credit for
running after a helicopter which has all these children bound up in sacks hanging from it as bait. It's like, what? Like, how did we get here? But it's just really unique and it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it.
You got to give the old guys credit for being filmed naked, like in the cold.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's
Yep.
odd. I was looking for a better word to describe it, but it is odd.
It's a very odd movie, but I would recommend this one as a good, unique movie for horror fans to watch because it's a unique spin on Christmas and horror, and it's just kind of fun. It was not a great film, but an entertaining one.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Well, so that was a new discovery for us this year, but then we also discovered, really kind of the classic
Can't forget the classics.
Christmas-themed horror movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is not as unique or imaginative at all as Rare Exports. It's basically a slasher about a killer Santa Claus, a guy who dresses up like Santa Claus and kills people because he had a traumatic past in which his parents were killed by a guy dressed like Santa Claus.
And you say like he could have had many origins.
Yeah, this poor kid.
Guy.
He had a lot of trauma in his life that led to him to be a.
And it's
a
all
killer
relating to
Claus.
Santa Claus too.
Yeah,
it's
really, it's
man,
a really weird movie.
got piled on.
I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night. We've seen it before. It's fun to watch. It really is just like pure grindhouse sleaze, though. I mean, it is the like cheesiest, most exploitative kind of just horror movie.
It's kind of
can
just
imagine.
like chase, breast,
Yes.
killing,
Yeah. Blood
blood,
and gore.
chase,
Yeah.
breast, killing.
Yeah.
It just kind of keeps
It's
going like that
really
until the
cheesy.
credits roll.
Yeah, it's really cheesy, but it's become sort of infamous because I think mostly because of the controversy that surrounded it when the film first came out.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was banned in a lot of cities. There were huge protests. Not because there's
I
anything.
say, oh yeah, like I was there.
Well, yeah, but not that there's anything so outrageous in the film, but just I think the idea of like a killer Santa Claus and the posters and things with that Santa Claus with the bloody axe really outraged a lot of parents. So that controversy almost overshadowed and ultimately
Oh, it did.
probably helped the legacy of this film. Because now I noticed on the DVD you had it very proudly proclaims like complete and uncut the film they tried to ban.
As if someone cares.
Right, like they've really kind of used that as like a selling point for this, what is really a pretty cheesy movie. Yeah.
That has a bad quality too. It's all spliced together like.
Well, the version we saw is the complete version. So a lot of the scenes that were in the version that we saw, which
I
I'm
would
assuming,
preferred an incomplete version.
yeah, which
to-
I'm assuming is probably the standard version that's available.
Yeah.
Had scenes that had I guess been cut from previous releases reinserted, but the source material was of varying quality. So some scenes looked a little grainy or whatever. I don't know. Personally, I kind of liked it all in there. I liked all the.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna go all out, I kind of wanted to see as close to the original kind of vision, as it were, as possible in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to watch, but
There's so many ridiculous moments
Yeah.
to it. It's so silly. Best part is the music of it.
oh yeah.
That they couldn't license any Christmas music, so they make up their own.
Yeah,
You
that's
look at
our-
you look at the end credits, and it's all written by one guy. He probably did it all in one day.
Yeah, that's our theory that they couldn't really get the rights to a lot of like classic Christmas songs, which I would kind of think are in the public
they
domain.
do sing some. They sing
They
Deck the
sing
Halls.
one, yeah, but it's a lot of like made up just for this movie, like cheesy Christmas
Yeah.
songs.
Christmas Fever and like
Yeah.
I can't remember the other ones. There's one during the sex scene where
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
pretty bad.
It's awesomely bad.
It is, it
I
is.
kind of like to own the soundtrack.
yeah, and
Come on,
we
sing along. Everybody knows these lyrics.
And we always have fun watching this movie. I'm really kind of racking my brain to think, like, is there a moment of kind of like, transcendence in this movie? Is there a moment
A montage.
where it's like, yeah, but like, like for real though, like this is actually good. Like this is actually well done. This is actually a neat idea. I don't really think there is in this
No.
movie. It really is just kind of like cheesy fun.
I think the only thing interesting about it is the idea of it, is the marketing. Of
Yeah.
it. It's a killer.
The history
People don't even. Some people
behind
don't
it is
even know the
probably-
name of the movie. They just know it as the Killer
Killer
Santa,
Santa
Claus
Claus
movie.
movie. Yeah.
And then of course it goes on. It's got like 4 or 5 sequels or something like
Yep.
that
Yep.
of equal or lesser value, which is not saying a lot because this one is not of that great of value. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but.
Right. But it's fun. We always have fun.
These
watching it.
movies are just kind of there, so you may as well watch them. You're not really going to get much out of it.
Yeah.
Probably should have watched like Black Christmas, which is my favorite.
Yeah. I was gonna say there are a few other holiday themed horror movies, Christmas themed horror movies.
No.
Black Christmas probably is the best.
It's one of
Very
it's
good.
a very good horror movie.
Canadian film that some people argue is kind of the first slasher because I think it preceded Halloween, didn't it? And has a lot of
I don't remember.
has a lot of the kind of slasher tropes.
Yeah.
It's about a girls' school, isn't it? Margot Kidder is in it. Has
She's like locked in there over Christmas break.
has a famously ambiguous ending. Really good movie. So Black Christmas.
And
is
it was
definitely
directed by the guy that directed A Christmas Story, which is really weird.
Is it interesting?
Bob Clark.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, Black Christmas is actually a good, Christmas themed horror film, and of course Gremlins takes place at
Gremlins
Christmas.
is good.
So that's another good Christmas horror movie.
I really can't think of it.
I don't really know of too
There
many
aren't
others.
that
I
many.
know there are a few others. Isn't there like a Killer Jack Frost, like Snowman?
Yes.
Movie.
There's Jack Frost 1 and 2.
And there's the
Those are
Ginger-
great movies.
Dead Man movies, which I don't know if they're
I've
actually
never seen those
Christmas
ones.
themed or not.
I've seen Jack Frost.
Yeah. So there's others out there, but it's a pretty small.
Oh, there's Elves. There's a movie called
Oh,
Elves by
okay.
a killer elf,
All right.
which is misleading because it says elves, but there's only one. So that's a good one.
Okay. So there's a few out there.
Just trust me.
Yeah. So I would recommend Rare Exports if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Check out.
It's
Rare
very
Exports.
interesting. You can watch it any time of the year.
There you go. Good. Enjoy it any time of the year. It's streaming on Netflix right now if people want to
Watch
check
it on Easter.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, well, so I guess that was kind of our little Christmas special of Brain Says Strange Things. As we said, it's been really hard to get together during the holiday season and get these up on a regular basis, but we're almost through the holidays, almost into 2014.
It's so fun.
Oh man, I get more excited about Christmas being over these days than I do about Christmas. I hate this. There's a few things I like about Christmas.
The movies.
Yeah, but for the most part,
I like the music, and that's it.
I'm looking forward to a fresh start in 2014 and more episodes of Brain Says Strange Things.
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any
That's my one Christmas wish.
Are there any horror movies or horror related gifts on your wish list for Santa this year?
I have not made a list for Santa. No.
Maybe he'll surprise you.
Those are the best gifts. They're the
I think so.
surprises.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like the whole Scream Factory catalog could be on my Christmas
Honestly,
list.
getting a night to watch movies like this, that's enough of a gift for me. Like
There you go.
that's a That's a good night, I think.
Cool. All right. Well, on that note, we'll wish you a good night and a happy holiday season. Thanks for watching Brain Says Strange Things. And we'll see you back here in 2014. Have a great holiday, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Xmas.